What up? All right, this will be an integral part of the Patreon. I use the or I promote this as a Mullets mailbag, which I will answer any questions that come along. I'll be doing these on Tuesdays and Thursdays moving forward. I'll also, and then once we get into March and April, I'll be doing them daily. Of any questions that you guys have, I'll be just creating custom videos to answer your questions. I'll be putting it out for the paid listeners and things like that. This is really your one stop shop of if you've ever wanted direct access to Mel Kiper or Mike Mayock, or I'm not those guys, but I have a pretty good idea of what I'm doing with the NFL draft, and I will be answering questions one on one like this. I'll do some film breakdowns live. I'm actually working with another content creator that's going to do custom cut ups of tape that will allow me to actually, I will not see them until you see them live. So you'll be able to see my process the same way that I would watch a cut up from another scout. So we'll do mock drafts in here. We'll do all kinds of stuff in the Patreon. This is also a great opportunity for me to explain behind a paywall why we are doing what we're doing. So if you've been around for our ESPN radio show for an extended period of time, you know that we've been doing this since COVID. Our first show was the day Kobe Bryant died. And we have, I want to start this with, we have great sponsors. Ingles Markets. I would not be here without Ingles Markets. Clarissa sells WNC.com. I would not be here without Clarissa sells WNC.com. Parks Ford of Hendersonville, they're newer, but we love them just as much. We have a gigantic truck that I'll be posting pictures of on our Facebook later. It just got wrapped. That allows us to go to all these things. It's a beautiful truck, and they handed me the keys and said, "Go do you," because they believe in us. We would not be here without any of them. Now, we've had other sponsors over the time. They've just, in large part, they've never been as committed as the three that we've had. So I spend a lot of my time doing sales, chasing money. Well, that's if you were a member of the first Patreon, or countless things over the course of time. The reason that things were not necessarily paid off the way that they were supposed to be is because, Jeremy runs all the video, and Jeremy was out chasing a sponsor or chasing a check or chasing whatever the fuck it was supposed to be. And I'm officially tired of that. I have gotten, I love Ingles. I will, on my grave, I want an Ingles logo that says low prices, love the savings. I feel the same way about Clarissa. I feel the same way about Parks. Outside of that, if it happens organically and somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I really believe in you, and I want to sponsor you and sponsor your journey and things," I'm here for it. As for me going door to door to try to convince people to want to support us, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with that. And if that means that this becomes a hobby, then so be it. If that's the way it has to go, then so be it. It's not going to go that way, and I'll just cut that at the source. It's not going to go that way because Ingles, Clarissa, and Parks are all the way in. So if anybody thinks that we do these things because we're greedy or anything like that, no, we're trying to go to a Pat McAfee model where we don't have to do any of those other things. So we can just we want to build out our own Thunderdome. We want to we've had an idea for 2 years to have an RV that was on the road, that we had a studio in, that we could just travel all over the country and do this shit. That's incredibly expensive. Social media is doing a great job. If you've noticed, we have a renewed push on social media. It's because social media doesn't cost you guys shit. You watch shit, you share shit. That pays us too, and it pays us quite nicely. So I wanted to use the first live stream of the Patreon that's behind a paywall to just be 100% honest with you guys. That's where it is. I want to I interviewed with a few teams over the last handful of years. I've turned down 2 jobs in this league because I enjoy doing this. There could come a day that I decide I want to work in the league. I have done none this year, and I can't tell you that I won't in May. I'll say there's a very good chance that I don't. And even if I do, I will continue to do this because I love doing this. This has been very reinvigorating for me. Now, I want to answer another question that I've been asked a few times because people don't seem to want to take my word for it. Tank will cover this with me tomorrow. We're going to do a live stream of Eagles Commanders. We will not be doing Bills Ravens. And we will not be doing a live stream for the Super Bowl. We're going to enjoy those with our wives. We may do a live watch party at the Village Porch here in Asheville for the Super Bowl. We will be back the Saturday before. We've already unilaterally made the decision. Even if we were to win the lottery, we would give the tickets back. We will not be going to the game. We'll be there on site for the week, but we will not be going to the game. And I see more people joining. We're having kind of a fait accompli of we're behind a paywall now, so anything I say can be unabashedly myself. We want to do more big shit for you guys because the support you guys give us is mind-boggling. It blows my mind how many people come up to us on the street, how many people tell us things. We just got a ratings book that we are the 3rd most popular show in the city in a sports niche that doesn't have any sports teams. In terms of the states of North and South Carolina year-over-year growth, there is no show between the 2 states that has more year-over-year growth than we do. So we want to keep doing this as long as you guys keep enjoying it. And showing up on Facebook and showing up here on Patreon and showing up on all the things. As long as you keep doing that, we'll keep doing this. And we'll do it until Kingdom Come. So that was... I didn't want to say, hey, there's going to be a big fait accompli at the beginning of this to explain things, but there was always going to be. So now I will get to draft questions, anything that you guys have. I know we got one on the post itself. So let me go back to that and see if I can find that question. It's from James Rorick. So I know one hires the other, but what do you think is more crucial to a player's development and output, head coach or coordinators? It's coordinators. Coordinators can make players where head coaches can't. Head coaches are CEOs. Head coaches are here to make in-game decisions, and yes, they have a say in putting in the offense, putting in the defense. The guys that hand-to-hand are actually doing this are the coordinators, the position coaches, even the assistant position coaches. There is a reason that we promote these guys, is because your work as a coordinator or position coach makes me think you can be a head coach. There are guys in this league that will probably never get a shot at head coach that deserve it, unabashedly deserve it. And one of the things that I find going to the Senior Bowl, the reason that we're going to do this in perpetuity forever, I learned more at the Reese Senior Bowl last year than I've learned in any week in my entire life about football, the industry, just sitting down and talking. I mean, for the love of God, I was doing car bombs with one of the most famous people in the country that does this. I'll give you a hint. He doesn't like rock, but he does like a different kind of music, and he puts it on a sheet. So the long form answer to your question is a good coordinator can cure a bad head coach. If you don't believe that, look at Liam Cohen and what he did for Todd Bowles. Now, good coordinators don't always become great head coaches. I have a fear of that with Ben Johnson. I think Ben is an insanely smart offensive guy. I don't know how he'll be as a head coach. I've seen guys like this that were the number one candidate on the market, Robert Saleh, that they're a great coordinator. Doesn't mean you're a great head coach. So I hope Ben is. I love him to death. I think he's a great guy. Did great things for Asheville during Hurricane Helene. But I don't know. I just don't know. Any other questions you guys have, fire those out in the chat. I'll give a little inside baseball. This is the way that we do Patreon videos. So they will go up. This one will go up just live link. Usually they will go up live link and then I will record them and cut them down. I did not want to do that with this one just solely because I wanted it to, I didn't want any chance for it to be distributed because I did want to be completely honest about why we were doing all of these things. Ingalls told me to go behind a paywall over a year ago. You can be yourself, and that's what people seem to like is you being yourself. So that's why we're doing this, and we're figuring. I'm figuring this out as we go along. I do want to thank Bill Workman for all the great work he's doing, and John Welch and Joshua Brooks has offered to help. Evan Doyle's offered to help. It's. I fully plan on making this a thing. NFLDraft.net is going to be a thing. NBADraft.net was a thing. And I'm actually friends with a couple guys that were part of the management team of that owned it. And that was where it came from. NBADraft.net was the number one NBA draft website in the world. And the amount of money that you can make from that number of web clicks is enough that I don't have to worry about anything for the rest of my life. It was incredibly expensive to buy, just so you know. So if anybody thinks, oh man, they say this shit a lot, yeah, it's because I got a lot of equity that's sitting out there. I know what the Sportsocracy brand is worth now because I've already been offered to sell it out. It was not enough for me to sell it out, but growing this brand is this is what can lead into very comfortable life things. All right, I'm not seeing any draft Q&As, so I will elaborate a little further. You can put your questions on the Patreon directly. So any post, any comment that is a question, I will answer in the mullet mailbags on Tuesdays and Thursdays moving forward. That will go to every day the week of the combine. So I will answer questions live from the combine when we get there at the end of next month. Sir Jimothy said you can always just say Sir Jimothy. And I 9 times out of 10 I try to remember that, but then I see your full name on other posts and just immediately I have Will Ferrell disease. I will read whatever is put in front of me. I am Ron Burgundy with better hair. All right, it's looking like I'm not seeing more draft questions. So this one might be awfully short, but I did want to get those things out. I also wanted to show you guys how to do this. So basically this YouTube link is unlisted. If you don't have the link, no one can find it. So do not share those links. Those are not to be distributed out in the world, because that's how bad things can happen. So we will keep it this way as long as it works. Some of them will be pre-recorded, and those are just flush on the website itself. So, with no further questions, I will put up another post later tonight or in the morning about all the things and how the Patreon is going to work. And I appreciate you guys being patient. We debuted this. Oh, Red Sea posted a question on the Patreon. Let's see if I can find it. And you also got to remember, I'm learning Patreon too. I'm also learning that the notification button is a big one. Okay, yeah, I'll get to that one in just a second. So we posted this early just to see if there was momentum behind it. There very much is, and this is going to get the bulk of my attention. Tank is just cut into a million pieces with all the things he's being asked to do. So that's why it's just me. If that ever changes, he knows that other box over there is reserved for him. But that's why he's not around for this. Red Sea asked, missed the full mock, so apologies if you already covered this guy. What do you think of Braden Swinson And do you think he'd be a good fit for the Cardinals? As for do I think I'm going to answer this backwards. So, do I think he would be a good fit for the Cardinals? I do. I am in like with him, not necessarily in love. I know there are some who are just super dead in the wool about him. My problem with Braden Swinson is not. He's a very good pass rusher. That's all he can do. He is fucking terrible against the run. And the way his frame is built, I don't really ever see that changing. The other thing that bothers me is if you look at who he was really productive against, they were all teams with bad offensive lines. The worst game he had all year was against Florida. Another of the worst games he had was against USC. Another one was against South Carolina. Another one was against Texas A&M. Another one was against Alabama. He was really good against Baylor, Oklahoma, Arkansas, UCLA, and Norfolk State. I just think he's raw. So, something that you will find to be an absolute no doubter with me, and this will be in the draft manifesto as well, is that every player has a value. And there is a certain time where I would take any of them. Most of what I say is based on the value that I think where I think they're going to go. Braden Swinson right now is PFF's number 157 player. If you get him at 157, you've done a great job. I just know definitively that you won't, because he's going to go higher than that. People are going to fall in love with the intangibles in the pass rush and all of those things. So, it's not that I don't like him. I think he's a very good situational pass rusher. I'm just afraid that he's going to go higher than he should. So, Sir Jimothy said it won't let me super chat. I'm actually glad you mentioned that. So you cannot super chat in these. It's disabled. If it lets you do it, it's not supposed to. You pay for super chats with your subscription to the Patreon. That's the whole thing. This is not a money grab. In any stretch of the imagination, it is not a money grab. And I really need people to understand that. So super chatting is disabled. I will read anything that goes into that chat, which leads me to the chat. Ches Johnson, I know it's time consuming, it's passion for you, but I personally greatly appreciate the hard work. This is not work. That's what I love, is that it's not work. I love doing this. My wife has come in here no less than 10 times over the last few days and just gone, how the hell do you do this tedious shit? Because this is what I live for. I throw on these headphones because these double as musical headphones, and they're very good. And I just dig in, and I can watch tape and set up profiles and things like that. And I'm treating this as, what would I want to see if I was you? Like if I didn't work in this business and I was the same kid that I was at 17 years old that was reading Walter Football back then, what would I want to see? And that's where I'm at. And that's what all the content's going to be. I'll have a content schedule that will be out, I hope, tomorrow. If not, it will be when I get into Mobile on Monday, of when things will be going out and all that good stuff. So, Jimothy, that's why it wouldn't let you super chat. It does not know your current economic status. Super chats are disabled. I will read everything that is in here. Now, if you want me to play a button, I can play buttons for each one of you. It's just every chat in this is a super chat. Jazz Johnson said he loves the breakdown with the film you did on Milrow. Would love to see more film breakdowns like that. There will be hundreds of those in here. They're a little time consuming to cut down, and I have been flush on the website trying to get it up and out. But there are a lot more film breakdowns. So the breakdowns themselves, I put up the Milrow one so you would know what you were getting. I don't usually do those until after the Senior Bowl, because that's when I really start digging into. I've already dug into the film. Now I'm digging into the film breakdowns, where I have somebody that's cutting those for me. The group that's cutting those down for me has all of my scouting reports, so they know exactly what I'm looking for. And I'll let you know more about that as time goes on. But we're going to have a lot of those. So film breakdowns, that's going to be the biggest thing we do here is film breakdowns. And you'll see some of those that are on the YouTube page too. Those are basically just trying to direct people to here. Bill Workman, I think the Panthers try to trade back unless McMillan, Carter, Mason, Graham is there. Am I on the right path? Or is there a name I'm missing? Will Johnson. Will Johnson's the name you're missing because I don't think Will Johnson gets. I don't think any of the four of them are there, to be really honest with you. But if there is one of those four that is there, Abdul Carter, I can promise you won't be. I'm pretty confident Mason Graham won't be. If one of them was, I would say it would be Tito McMillan, and they would take him so quickly. Let's see. Red Sea asks, how else am I supposed to chat these? Literally a comment. You throw a comment and I'll read it. And that's the way all these will work moving forward. Sir Timothy said, pardon my ignorance. I don't have enough time to follow NCAA and the NFL, so I follow the NFL. I don't know many NCAA players. That's what I'm here for. That you're actually, so the premise of this is what would wrote my dad in? Because that was, and if you read the introductory thing to this Patreon, that was really what got me into this. When I was a kid, my dad used to love hearing me break down the guys that were getting ready to be Jets the day after the draft. And so that's what I'm doing with a lot of this. I'm explaining this, and I know there are draft nerds like me. You know, Red Sea's a draft nerd like me. Bill Workman's a draft nerd like me. I know there are guys that are, they're paying $3 a month because they want to support us. And so a lot of these things, that mock draft I just did, I'm talking to you guys. If you ask me a question that's deeper divey, I can answer it. And those of you that like deeper divey, you're going to see a shitload of that here. But that was the whole premise of this venture was there. I think there are 20 million guys out there that are just like my dad that want somebody to very simply explain to them, hey, is this fit good or is this fit bad? And they don't necessarily want to listen to you talk about arm angle. Will this kid work? What am I going to see out of him on Sunday? That's going to be a lot of this too. He said he's going to ask stupid-ass questions. There's no such thing as a stupid-ass question. One of the most successful people in the NFL draft industry asked me the stupidest question that anybody has ever asked me about a prospect, and no, I'm not going to tell you who it was. But I'll put it this way. You can see him on draft night on television. Dumbest question anybody's ever asked me, to the point of I literally walked away from that, and I have never consumed another piece of content of his because I can't believe anybody that puts in the amount of time that he allegedly does would ask me that question. Timothy O'Toole, found you guys my freshman year undergrad. Very glad to get more content from you, especially with less time to watch with law school. Holy shit, you're going to law school. Good for fucking you. I think I knew that. My brain's just liquid shit right now. My favorite game is to listen at 2x speed and try to understand. Me at 2x speed is going to sound like Boomhauer. But congratulations on law school. And years from now, if you get a random call, I need a lawyer. So you're my huckleberry. Because if you're in law school now, my guy's going to retire about the same time. So if somebody shows up with a plane ticket, just know your bat services are needed in Gotham City. Bill Workman, I watch too much football and love seeing the kids move from college to the pros and how they fit, where they land. That's my thing. I love watching guys in the NFL that I've been watching since they're in high school. Because I'm very into signing day. I'm into it less now because of the transfer portal. But, I mean, there are guys every single year that I watch their high school tape. I just watched the tape on Adrian Peterson Jr. He's in the high school class of 2030. I love tape. Red Sea said his first video was the Cardinals 7-round mock draft, whatever year Cam Thomas came out. I'm glad you said that. First of all, we're very glad that you found us from that. Second of all of those 7-round mock drafts will not be on the Patreon. Those do incredibly well, and we have to keep the organic growth. So you're going to see a lot more of those, and you'll have some in-depth ones here. But the standard 7-round mock drafts will stay on the free YouTube. We had to try to balance this out where we were still putting out free content to try to recruit new listeners, but we wanted the deeper divier stuff for the Patreon. So I'm really glad you said that. Bill Workman said he watched that Adrian Peterson Jr. tape. Yeah, it's fucking wild. Fucking wild. to see that kid after watching his dad all those years. All right. James Aurora Sir Jimothy asked, "Will Patreon let you listen if the screen is locked? If not, on the YouTube app?" So the link that you got will let you watch on the YouTube app. You do not have to watch through Patreon. Patreon's like the locked door. Nobody gets the link. The link is on the paid site. Like the free members can't see the link. So because they can't see the post, it just doesn't exist for them. And anybody that stumbles across the Patreon can't see it. Now, you can take that link and put it into YouTube, and it will open up in YouTube. You don't have to watch directly through Patreon. I don't really know 100% how that works. I think it opens as like a dockable window, but you can put it directly into YouTube and put it in the search engine, and it should let you do whatever the YouTube app will do. Sir Jimothy asked, best linebacker or defensive end that would be a nice fit in Dallas. So the Red Sea said he started scouting the year Kyler Murray came out, ironically. My scouting came from the fact that the Jets always suck, and it was the only way that I had any enjoyment was, hey, maybe this draft guy will save us from the misery of where we are. So following up on Jimothy's question about the Cowboys, the four-man front, I feel like you're going to have to replace Marcus Lawrence because I don't think you're going to pay him to come back. So it is possible that they go edge rusher in the first round and don't take Genty. Usually when there's a player that's locked into a team, it doesn't happen. And Ashton Genty right now is locked into Dallas. Every mock I see has him going there. And that makes me think it's possible that it's not going to happen. So if that were the case, then I would start looking at, guys like, I'm trying to think of the one that would fit the best there. Because several of the guys I like in the first round are like standing up because they're so freak athletic. I'm trying to think of the name that I want to say right here. Mike Green is a good one. I know a lot of people want to see him stand up. I'm not as convinced of that. Jack Sawyer. Jack Sawyer is the right answer to that. Bill Workman has him in his top 10. I'm not that high on him, but I have him. He's in my top 30. Jack Sawyer would be my answer on that. Sir Jimothy, or actually, let me read these in order. Panther fan, so our drafts were the highlights of several years of fandom for sure. He also said he's drunk in love on Jack Sawyer. You are. I saw your top 100. That was the first thing I noticed was, damn, he's high. Timothy O'Toole, between seeing you guys my freshman year undergrad, catching the last of Verse while he was still at Albany, and the Patriots sucking has turned me on to the draft so much more. That tends to be what happens. It's so funny. We've really hit over the years with a few fan bases. We had a Saints mock draft that went super nanners. We had a Bengals mock draft that went super nanners. And if you notice, we have a lot of Saints fans. We have a lot of Bengals fans. You know what we don't have a lot of? Teams that are super good, because we are a draft channel, and we really figured that out over time, is that we are a draft channel. So we got to this point where we've developed the ESPN radio show, and then there we get people that just want us to talk nothing but football, which is fine. We will do that. And so we decided we were going to divide the two. The thing is, we just don't want to whore out the sportsocracy, because that's working. So that's why we led in with Patreon, and the YouTube growth will be very, very slow for this channel by comparison, because this is draft season. But we'll be doing collaborations with both. So if you see that, that's why. And then Sir Jimothy, do you compare your draft pick destinations versus what actually happens? Yes, I do. I don't do it at the douchey level, which there is a draft website that does that and loves to tell you they're the most accurate draft website. They're also the one most likely to have a mock draft with a guy that came back to school 4 months earlier. So I do it just for my own personal knowledge. I'll probably break it down on the Patreon this year. So basically, the post-draft process this year will go from 3 days to a full month. So if anybody thinks, oh, May 1st, it just all this goes away. No, it doesn't. And then we get into really deep diving summer scouting because we will not be doing that on the ESPN radio show next year. We will do it, but just very broad. It'll probably get 2 days instead of the full week it got. And I will deep dive here for a full 2 months. I will have the website will be fully functional with my top 500 for next year within a month of the 2025 draft ending. The draft is about to be a 12-month out of the year experience for me. And I'm fond of that. Okay, let me make sure on the Patreon that I don't have any more questions to answer. Let's see. I know I got one more. Red Sea, since you don't like our corners for some reason, it's not that I don't like your corners. I like parts of your corners. I don't think you have a true, and when I say true, I mean truest sense of the word. I don't think you have a true one. I think you have an elite slot. And Garrett Williams is an elite slot. And if you remember, when he came into the draft, I really, really liked him. I don't like your outside corners. I want you to have a one that can deal with number one wide receivers. I feel like you have a slot that can deal with the number one that's in the slot. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think he can deal with that. And that's why you think I don't like your corners, because I don't like the outside ones. So I'll continue the question. Would you consider taking a guy like Jahdae Barron or Siobhan Ravel in the second for Arizona, provided they improved the front seven with the first-round pick and free agency? Would also like to know why you don't like our corners and which ones, because I love our secondary. Okay, so, all right, I had not read all the way through that question, so I actually answered it backwards. I love Garrett Williams. I don't like the two on the outside because I don't think either one of them can deal with one. I think they're both twos. One of the biggest problems I think the teams have in the NFL in terms of when defenses go really sideways is you wind up with a tough-ass schedule or you wind up with a weak-ass schedule, and it makes you think something that's not necessarily true. Right now, I don't know who would defend the one. I want somebody that can shut down a one. For me to feel good about your secondary, I need somebody that's not going to get their lunchbox eaten by Jamar Chase. And when I say that, I mean you can hold him to 100 yards as opposed to he goes for 225. I don't think either one of your guys can do that on the outside. Now, if you were to acquire a one, a true honest-to-God one, a DJ Reed, and I'm not even talking scheme fit here, I'm just talking sheer talent, and you could slide Sean Murphy-Bunting over to the two, Sterling Thomas becomes more of an ancillary piece playing as the dime. Now I love your secondary. So you're only one piece away. It's just you have a two in the one, you have a three in the two, because now I completely take slot corners out of it. Slot corners are slot corners. That's its own individual position now. So I hope I answered that question. Now, as for your Jahdae Barron, I'm not as high on as everybody else. Siobhan Ravel, I'm higher on than everybody else. So I would love, if you can get Siobhan Ravel in the second round, more power to you. I'm all the way in. Bill Workman said he doesn't feel bad for already having a top 100 for 2026. I don't either. I'm not going to post it until after this draft is over so as to not confuse people. Sir Jimothy asked, are the small-time sponsorships still available? Yes, sir, they are. And you would be the kind of guy that I would be willing to do those for. Those are completely custom, and I build them out for the person. So you and I can talk about that. His fundraising site's all out of pocket, so it'd just be able to help me get more people to help the charities. I know we discussed it a little bit, but wasn't sure if it was for this or the Sportsocracy. That is for the ESPN show. The ESPN show gets more eyeballs. So, we can talk about those things. That you're the kind of person that I would want to work with. What I don't want to do is the arranged marriages anymore of, hey, this guy wants to spend money and then he doesn't like the way I talk, or he doesn't like the fact we're all sports, or he wants me to talk about underwater basket weaving or anything like that. What we're doing is working, and I want to make a model where we can do the best content for you instead of doing content that is just paying the bills to make everybody else happy. Because the ones we have now, they want me to be me, and I love that. And they want Tank to be Tank, which I also love. Red Sea, if we did that, Murphy Bunting would probably be cut since we have Max Melton at CB2. You're 100% right, and I forget Max Melton because he was moved around and bullshit through the servers that I use. I don't dislike Max Melton. I thought he was going to be a slot coming into the league. So I need to dig into those things. And obviously I will be doing that as I go through team needs. So Arizona was not in the playoffs, so they didn't get that second deep dive of what was happening, and I can only do so much through the year. So I may like your secondary more than I think I do. So I hope that answered your question, though. Red Sea. I'll take one more gander at the Patreon, and then I'm going to go enjoy the afternoon with my very patient wife, who is about to watch me walk out the door for 2 weeks. All right, we got nothing left on the Patreon. I see nothing left here. Bill Workman said setting this up like McAfee, but with a better mullet and more personality. I know those guys, and what they do is fucking incredible. And I do want to be that. And I'm tired of hiding it. I do want to be that because I am the boss. I own this company. I own every bit of this. And so I can do that. And we have sponsors that are awesome that steer into that and want me to do shit like this. So that's where we're trying to get to. All right, guys, ran 37 minutes there. It's a little longer than I anticipated. I'm going to go spend the afternoon with my wife, and we'll be back tomorrow, 3 o'clock for Eagles Commanders, live stream, free on the YouTube, and I will have that content schedule up as quick as possible here for Patreon. More film breakdowns is what I'm hearing. Anything you want to see, chuck it into the Patreon. I'm seeing every one of those pretty quick. They're coming to my phone. Just happens to be in my pocket right now. So much love, everybody. Enjoy the weekend, and I will talk to you